On ViuTVSix, 5 cash-strapped co-workers become unlikely millionaires.
We're very proud to announce...
How long have you been in the syndicate?
We're millionaires, Leon.
We're multi-millionaires.
Multi-millionaires! We won the bloody lottery!
Good fortune has a price.
I'm arresting you, Leah Powell, on suspicion of child abduction.
If you don't want to be with me, you can piss off. People don't know I've got money. They've won the lottery. They kidnapped her and they're just gonna... Daisy!
How could you do that to your Russian Britt?
The Syndicate. Monday night at 10:30 on ViuTV6.
Welcome back. Well, lots of political activity going on in the city this Sunday. The Deputy Director of the Basic Law Committee, Elsie Leung, said Hong Kong enjoys more freedom and human rights after the handover. She added that one country, two systems has been successful and rules out renegotiating China's sovereignty over Hong Kong.
Some have suggested to discuss the city's future after 2047. This doesn't exist. Hong Kong has returned to China after the handover. By then, we should only focus on whether it should continue the one country, two systems principle.
Meanwhile, around 10 activists marched to CE-elect Carrie Lam's office in Central to renew calls for better retirement protection and poverty relief policies. Members from the League of Social Democrats and Socialist Action demanded a universal pension scheme and standard working hours. Lawmaker Leung Kwok Hung said current Chief Executive C.Y. Leung and Lam have turned a blind eye to elderly living in poverty and that they would like to take Mother's Day as an opportune time to remind her. The activists also want Lam to increase medical spending.
She claimed that she will make Hong Kong a more harmonic place to live in. I wonder if 1/3 of the elderly, those who are Oma, need to go to the street at night in order to collect the cardboard, the paper, in order to survive. Whether I don't see any harmony.
Well, in other local news, a fire broke out in a To Kwa Wan residential flat at 4 p.m. today, entering 1. Smoke could be seen billowing from the flat and multiple explosions could be heard. Firemen were able to control the flames after more than half an hour. One man was sent to hospital after his arms and legs were burnt. Another woman fell ill after breathing in smoke. More than 100 residents were evacuated. An investigation is underway to find out what caused the blaze. And the US President Donald Trump said he wants to move quickly with nominating a new FBI director to replace James Comey, who was fired earlier this week. He told reporters travelling with him on Air Force One that a fast decision is possible, adding that the candidates under consideration are outstanding and very well known. His sacking of Comey is highly controversial, as it came at a time when the agency is looking into alleged Russian meddling in last year's presidential election and possible Moscow ties with Trump's campaign.
So we could make a fast decision.
Before the trip next week, you think, possibly?
Even that is possible. Almost all of them are very well known. You know, they've been vetted over their lifetime, essentially. But very well known, highly respected, really talented people. And that's what we want for the FBI.
Well, meanwhile, interviews are underway for a new head of the intelligence agency. According to a White House official, there are 11 candidates under consideration. Among them are acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe and Republican Senator John Cornyn. Special Agent Adam Lee, who heads the Bureau's Richmond office, was also seen arriving at the FBI headquarters in Washington. Decision on the post will be subject to confirmation by the Republican-dominated Senate. Chinese-driven banana boom in Laos has left few locals untouched, but not everyone is smiling. Brenda Go takes us through the plantations on the ground.
Since Chinese investors arrived in this village in northern Laos 3 years ago, locals have had something to smile about. Offers of up to $720 a hectare for their land. The Chinese-driven banana boom in this impoverished country has been welcomed with open arms. But not everyone's happy. It's banana harvesting season behind me, and we're here to see the impact of the Chinese-owned banana plantations on the local people here. On one hand, the people say that it's great. They're getting double their usual wage and more work than ever before. But they also say that there are costs. It's killing the fish in the reservoir close by to here, and it's also sickening their relatives. The reason for that? Dangerous chemicals. The bananas grown by most Chinese planters here are popular with consumers at home, but they are not native to Laos, making them susceptible to disease. The Chinese answer? Douse them in pesticides. Then dunk them in more chemicals to preserve them for their long journey to China. Some banana growers have become weak and thin or develop rashes. Another big problem? Most pesticides come from China or Thailand, so the instructions and warnings are in a foreign language. Workers we spoke to say they're aware of the dangers, but also accepting of the trade-off. They're concerned about the chemicals, but higher wages mean that they can live and eat better. The Lao government banned the opening of new banana plantations in response to the problem. Not only is that getting Chinese growers frustrated, but they're also rejecting claims that the workers here are falling sick.
Venezuela is diving deeper into chaos with clashes breaking out in Caracas. Riding on motorcycles, riot police fired tear gas at fleeing civilians. A bus was set on fire and so far 40 people have been reported dead since the riots began 6 weeks ago. People there have been protesting against President Nicolas Maduro, driven by anger over a brutal economic crisis. The president said opposition leader Julio Borges was to blame for all the violence. Maduro, the successor of Hugo Chavez, says his foes are seeking a coup with the support of the US. Well, coming up next, the latest from the world of sports. To the latest from the Madrid Open. Dominic Thiem will be facing four-time champion Rafael Nadal tonight after defeating Uruguayan Pablo Cuevas in the semi-final. The Austrian player advanced to his first Master 1000 Series final by beating Cuevas to a 6-4, 6-4 win. Meanwhile, Nadal has also thrashed world number 2 and longtime rival Novak Djokovic. The final match will mark another face-off between the two just 2 weeks after the Barcelona Open final, where Nadal notched his 10th Barcelona title. Over to cycling. Gorka Izagirre scored his first Grand Tour stage win in the 8th stage of the Giro d'Italia this year. The Spaniard rider attacked from a group of 4 breakaway riders in the climb, leading to the finish and never looked back. Luxembourg's Bob Jungels still retain the overall lead. In football, Tottenham are preparing to say farewell to their White Hart Lane Stadium. Their final game there is against Manchester United in the Premier League today. Matt Goodrick looks ahead to the game with one of their former players.
Yeah, it's a big game at White Hart Lane on Sunday. Tottenham taking on Manchester United, which is always a big game in itself. But the added significance that it is the last game ever at White Hart Lane. Let's speak to someone who's played a number of games at that ground, Jason Cundy, for Spurs. It's going to be a strange day, isn't it, for the Tottenham players and the fans?
Yes, it will be. Change has to happen. We have to evolve in this game, and inevitably it means may have to leave your home. They're in the fortunate position that they will eventually return. We've seen other teams, such as Arsenal, struggle to adapt to a new stadium, West Ham in particular. And I think those fans, when they go back to White Hart Lane, although it'll be a totally different and brand new stadium, that routine, that journey will still be the same pub, cafe, whatever they did. So I think those fans will perhaps get at home, be made to feel at home a lot easier. But the future's bright for Spurs. They've got a brilliant manager, got an excellent young squad. They've had a good season. Get the feeling they're going to have to win something soon to keep these players happy. And I think Spurs' biggest task over the coming seasons is going to be keeping this brilliant young squad together.
Yeah, as for United, they come into the game obviously still searching for top 4. But if you listen to Jose Mourinho, he says, no, that's out of the question. Our only route to the Champions League is the Europa League. So are they now putting all their eggs in that basket, do we think, from now until the end of the season?
They've got no choice, right? I mean, they've been so poor in the league. They're now 6th, they're back in 6th. This unbeaten run that they went on, which was possibly the worst in professional sport ever, they never really got anywhere, you know? It was like they were on a treadmill going nowhere. Yes, they have to concentrate on the Europa League now, and it'll be interesting to see the team he picks for the game against Spurs. His job is to get Man United Champions League football It ain't going to happen via the league.
So as a final point, how do you assess Mourinho's first season at United?
It's been average. You know, they're papering over the cracks. When you look back over this season, if they win the League Cup, which they've already won, and they win the Europa League and have Champions League football, you will probably think, oh, that was not a bad season. When you're right in the middle of it right now, it's been average. You know, they've not been convincing. But Jose finds a way, generally, to get what he wants.
Absolutely, he does. Yes, that's the big game in the Premier League on Sunday. Tottenham against Manchester United.
Shout out to all the great mums out there. We wish you a very happy Mother's Day. Take a look at how families here show their love and appreciation for their mums. Many fathers helped their children pick out bouquets for their mothers, making flower shop owners very happy. They predict a 20% increase in sales revenue this year compared to the holiday last year. Well, that's it for this edition of ViuTV News. Do join us tomorrow at 7 for all the stories that are shaping your world. I'm Britt Clennett, and this is ViuTV News. Good night.
Coming up next, Oh My God Season 1. Regarded as the 5th golf major. And for the first time in Hong Kong, you can catch this prestigious tournament from the PGA Tour live on free TV. The Players' Championship. Late tonight, live on ViuTVSix. Compelling documentaries that look into the shocking crimes that hit the country. Through the eyes of people who were right at the center of the tragedies.
I damn well should be angry. A man took my daughter's life and ruined our family.
And all of a sudden, I hear this bang, bang, bang.
And then he started the flailing motion as if stabbing somebody.
We walked up to the dam and it's something that sticks with me forever.
Exclusive interviews, high-end drama, reconstructions and archive. Piece together the murders that shocked the nation. Crimes that shook Australia. Monday night at 8:30 on ViuTV6.
Who are you?
FBI. An elite team that analyzes the most twisted criminal minds.
What, you think all we do is serial killers? Trust me, we cover the whole spectrum of psychos.
OMG.
Oh my God.
Anticipating the perpetrator's next moves before they can strike.
How does one collect love? Rage, hatred, fear. These are things that we're trying to look for.
Emerson said, all is riddle, and the key to a riddle is another riddle.
Got any advice?
Just trust your instincts.